Hello, hello, everyone. This is Christine Bertram coming to you from the Cards by Christine studio here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And I have a beautiful card that uses some mint macaron and some Tranquil Tide paper coupled with the Rooted in Nature Designer Series paper. We are going to be focusing on the Rooted in Nature stamp set. This is a 2-set stamp. It has enough in here for 2 CD cases, and I like to store my CDs, the cases, I put both of those in the same case so it saves on space. So you've just, in essence, normally it would come in like 2 CDs like this. I've, in essence, made more room for more stamps on my shelf because I consolidated my rubber stamps. So we're going to be using a leaf from here and then the saying that is, it says, be strong, be happy, be you. And it's a relatively simple card. You're going to love this one because of how easy it really is. You might think that paneling looks difficult, but once you have the measurements for it, it's going to be super easy. So if you have really pretty designer series paper, this kind of a card showcases that designer series paper. So the colors again are mint macaron and then the Tranquil Tide, and we're using some Whisper White and then the Rooted in Nature Designer Series paper. And this card could be a birthday card, it could be a get well card, thinking of you card, whatever you want it to be. I have it set up here as a birthday card. And so it says happy birthday, and we put a little leaf on the corner, and that's the card. And why don't we go ahead and get started? I have a card kit here ready to go, and we are going to just grab all of our pieces out of here. The card base is your traditional card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And what I'm going to do is just fold that over. When you do score it, it makes it really easy to fold it. Paper has a certain grain, so if you don't score it when you cut the paper this way, it won't be so bad. It's when you cut it this way that makes it hard for you to fold your paper. But because of the grain on this type of cut for this paper, we're good doing it like this. Now, what's next? We have a piece of Tranquil Tide here. This isn't your traditional mat. It's a little bit more than your traditional mat. This is actually 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, that's that piece. Then we have some designer series paper, and this is already pre-cut, but the size of this for the measurement is 3.5, so 3.5 this way by 4.5 this way. So when you have that 3.5 by 4.5, what you're going to do is cut this into 3 panels. So it's 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. So if you're making multiples of this card, like let's say you're making 8 of them, what I would suggest doing is cutting your 3.5 by 4.5, and then what you'll do is cut 1.5 off, 1.5 off, and 1.5. And it's really important that this lines up. You keep them in the right order, because if you get them out of order, it probably will look okay, but it looks more cohesive if you've got them in the right order. It looks more of like a painting. So what we're going to do is take our multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're going to put a thin layer of this glue around the edge. And what we're going to do is start with the first panel on the left. We're going to glue that down, and this is going to give you about an 1/8 of an inch margin. So you can kind of eyeball that side. Next, what you want to do is the right side. And put a little liquid glue all the way around each side there, and we're going to line that up on the other side. Same thing, about an 1/8 of an inch margin all the way around. That leaves us with our middle, and all we have to do is center him. You don't want to go left to right with this card, because then your right side may end up being off kilter. Okay, so we're just going to attach that. The reason I like to use multi-purpose liquid glue is because you have a little bit of wiggle room. You can keep sliding it around for about 10 seconds until you get it in the exact spot that you want it. Next, we're going to attach this layer to our card base using dimensionals. You can see it's popped up here. I like to add dimension. So we have some, Stampin' Up! Has mini dimensionals as well as regular sized. When I use the regular size ones, I ended up cutting them in half because I'm a conserver of my supplies. And so what I would do is put half of the dimensional all over. So what we're doing is just using the mini ones, and I'm putting them in at least the 4 corners, and then I like to put some throughout as well. These have paper backing on them, which is easy to pick off. And then now it doesn't matter if you go like this or like this. I guess depending on the designer series paper you're using, you know you're going to be putting the circles here. So if your paper has less pattern on one side and you want that to be seen, then just flip it over like that. But in this case, it looks like this one doesn't have a difference between the whichever corner you do. Okay, so we've got that down. Now, this bottom piece is burlap. I've already cut a piece here, and my piece is about 5 inches. So sometimes when you use ribbon, you're going to wrap the ribbon behind it. In this case, I was trying to save ribbon and not use as much, and so just cut a piece. And what you're going to do is, this is tear and tape. It's got paper backing, and what you're going to do is just put this down. Now, the more you press this on one end, the easier it is to pick off the top paper layer. And then you're going to lay your piece of burlap down over the top of that tear tape. That's going to hold that really good. Now what I'm going to do is bring in some mini glue dots, and there is some Tranquil Tide velvet ribbon. I don't know if you can see the texture of this, but it's super soft. It's part of the new holiday catalog, and it comes on a whole roll like that. So I've already cut a piece that is about 5 inches again, and that piece is just going to lay over the top. Now what I'm going to do for that is attach that with these mini glue dots. And what I'll do is put one on that end, I'll put one on this end, and I'll grab one more, and I will put one kind of in the middle there. And then I will layer my Tranquil Tide ribbon over the top of that. Now that should stick really good. So we're building a really beautiful card here, and that's simple, isn't it? I have a 2-inch punch that's already punched out, made with the mint macaron. And what's going to happen is we need to stamp our sentiment here. So we're going to grab, I had it sitting over here, a piece of Whisper white paper, and I've kind of got this partitioned. We're going to be using the Tranquil Tide ink, and we're going to grab the Be Strong, Be Happy, Be You stamp. We're going to ink this up. Now these foam pads are super juicy. You can see I'm hardly even tapping on there, and you're getting a lot of ink. You're just going to stamp that nicely in the center here. Good even pressure is what is good for giving a good crisp solid image. And I have a 1 3/4 inch punch that I'm going to use to just punch this out. You can see here, center that really good. Now that's attached to our other circle here with some liquid glue. Just a little squiggle on the back of that will be sufficient. All right, so now we've got our label. This is going to go on the top of this. And if you put dimensionals, I'm going to use dimensionals to do that. If you put dimensionals right in the middle here, that's going to pop up over this ribbon even more. So what I'm going to do is put a couple dimensionals just on the top like that, and then some on the bottom here, just 2 of them here on the bottom. So that allows for my ribbon to be nestled right in between here. So this will go right on top here, and I tried to center the center of this with this panel right there, just to make it aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Okay, so now we've got our card front. We're missing one last step. If you see here, we've got some sequins. These you can get, they come in, there's 5 sheets. There's like a white, a green, this peachy color, and then a cream one. And I'm going to put a few of those on the front of my card. Let's see what colors I want to use. This green one looks pretty, so I'm going to throw one of those over there. I'll put one of them over here. And what other color? Let's do this cream one. So with this card, you could have used any of them. With floral arrangement, things look better in 3s. instead of even numbers. So whenever I'm working on a card front, I always like to put embellishments on in 3s. Wow, okay, so that was pretty simple, right? I'm gonna push down on here to get that glue dot really stuck on there. Now we have an inside to stamp. I have on here happy birthday and a leaf. This happy birthday comes from the Best Bird set. It's a very versatile set. It's got an anniversary saying, thoughts for you, it's a good day. And what I grabbed out of here is happy birthday. And we're gonna go back and grab our Tranquil Tide ink. And you got to remember that this is a horizontal card, so you want to make sure you stamp your inside horizontal. So we're just going to grab the happy birthday. Now you see I've got some ink on my block here. That's all right as long as you don't rock your stamp. If you would have rocked your stamp that way, you probably would have got that on your paper. But be careful. If that bothers you when you get ink on your block, just go ahead and take a wet wipe and get it off. And now we've got our leaf down in the bottom corner. Then what you would do is take your liquid glue and squirt it all around the outside of the back and go ahead and adhere it in here. So, but I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to use this as a sample for a card class. But there you have it. How easy was that? This is gorgeous. The style of card is gorgeous with any kind of designer series paper that you want to make a statement with. Just grab a panel. Again, that was 4.5 by 3.5, and you cut them into 1.5 inch panels, and just make sure you keep the right order. Throw a little ribbon on there. It's punches, so they go really fast, and throw a couple embellishments. Super, super simple card. If you need to make some Christmas cards, grab some designer series paper that's Christmas oriented or holiday oriented, and you'll have some really easy Christmas cards. So I hope you enjoyed this card. I really enjoyed stamping with you. I look forward to stamping with you again. Thanks, everybody. See you later.